Hi, welcome today. I'm Catherine Watson with Find Houston Senior Care, and I'm really excited today in my Conversations with Catherine series that I've started. I'm excited to be here with Greg Shelley. Greg Shelley is an ombudsman. And some of you may have heard of an ombudsman, and probably many of you are like most of us, have not heard of that and don't know what exactly an ombudsman is. So Greg is here today to talk to us about what is an ombudsman and how they can help you if you are finding yourself in the position of caring for an aging loved one, maybe your parent, maybe a spouse, or somebody else that you care about, and you need some help navigating the system. Greg and his team are here to help. So Greg, take it away. Tell us a little bit about the program.
Hey, Catherine, thanks for having me this morning. It's a pleasure. I am Greg Shelley with the Houston Galveston Area Agency on Aging Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, and we're just one facet of the state Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Um, I've been in Harris County for the previous 6.5 years as an ombudsman, and in December I joined the Houston Galveston Area Council and started visiting all the facilities in Fort Bend and Waller counties. So what is an ombudsman? We are advocates for the folks who live in nursing homes and licensed assisted living facilities. So that means I get the honor of visiting every licensed nursing home and assisted living facility in Fort Bend and Waller counties, and get to know a little bit about the communities and what they have available, and what they offer to consumers. So ombudsmen are advocates for the residents who live in the nursing homes and assisted living facilities. And I like to say that means we are essentially problem solvers for residents. We help educate them about their rights and their options. We help them work through issues if they're having any. And sometimes we're just a confidant. If they tell us things and they want to just have a conversation, that's fantastic. But we can't do anything without their consent. And a lot of times people are empowered enough to deal with the problems after learning what their rights and options are. And they just ask us to, stand on the sidelines and wait for them to call back if they need us for anything else. So a little bit about the history of the Ombudsman program. Every county in the country has representation, complements of the Older Americans Act, first and foremost. So the majority of the funding comes from the Older Americans Act. And more recently here in the state of Texas, our legislature has funded additional resources for us to be able to visit more frequently the assisted living communities as well. Here in Texas, the program has 28 different area agencies on aging, all overseen, the ombudsman program part overseen by our state ombudsman, Patty Ducaye. And those 28 area agencies on aging make sure that every licensed assisted living and nursing home in the state of Texas have representation from an ombudsman. And in our particular case, we're out of the Houston Galveston Area Council, which offers a wide array of human services and also includes the Houston Galveston Area Agency on Aging, which offers a variety of services for older adults, primarily the Ombudsman Program, Meals on Wheels, and Medicare and Medicaid benefits counseling, just to name a few. So where can we be found? And I've heard it often, and I still do whenever I meet folks, that they've never heard of an ombudsman, let alone seen one. So part of that issue is just resources. For the 12 counties that our program covers, there's 6 staff ombudsmen. Fortunately, we have a lot of volunteers who visit facilities on a weekly basis and build relationships within those communities. And they're a big part of our ability to have outreach and education. But with 6 ombudsmen, staff ombudsman in 12 counties, we're stretched a little thin at times. And for me, for instance, I cover 86 different facilities in the 2 counties of Waller and Fort Bend. So
Wow, that's a lot.
yeah, so the odds of running into me sometimes is a little slim, but it just depends on what's going on. Most of the time, it's just routine visits, swinging by and trying to meet as many people as possible and get the word out. Other times, I'm there because somebody in the facility or their family has called me in to look into an issue and help them with it. So one of the best resources, and I hadn't mentioned that yet, is before folks even begin the long-term care spectrum, reaching out to the Ombudsman program, we can give them a general idea of where to go to get care and what's available in their area. Unlike what you do, Catherine, you would be much more specific in placement. We'll just give them a general idea of the differences in in type A, type B, and whether nursing home care is appropriate, and some unique things about the different communities and what they have to offer that might fit individual circumstances. And that part being free is just a general outreach and education part of it. And one of the things I find often in assisted living world is folks not realizing what's available in the type B facilities and what they're capable of doing in delivering care. So there's plenty of folks that might find that more appropriate setting than the nursing home, but because they really haven't gotten into that education yet, they that's where we can be a good resource before they even begin the search.
Greg, how would somebody reach out to you if they found themselves in a situation where they had a loved one that was needing some care, or maybe they're in a rehab facility or something like that, and they know they need some help, but they don't know where to go? How would they reach out to you?
Well, for the folks in Fort Bend and Waller, if they're talking about placement in an assisted living or nursing home, or even just general questions, they can reach me directly at 713-499-6661. For anyone else outside that range, you can, if you're in the 12 county area surrounding Harris County, you can reach the Houston Galveston Area Agency on Aging at 800-437-7396. For anyone else anywhere in the country, if you go online, you can find us at ltcombudsman.org, and that's part of the National Consumer Voice for Quality Long-Term Care, and they have an ombudsman locator on there.
Okay, great. So they can search by one in their county and their area.
Absolutely. And these days, for the most part, the area agencies on aging have online information. And if you did ombudsman in your county, there's a good chance you'll find it that way as well.
Okay, all right. So is there anything else you want families to know about the program?
Yeah, I guess just some general examples of what we do. When I visit, I try to meet as many people as I can. I think on a typical 2-hour visit in a nursing home, for instance, I'll probably meet 4 or 5 residents at a time. It depends on what they have to say and how much they have to say. But a lot of what we do is listen, offer some options, kind of empower them to deal with some problems on their own, make sure that they know that they have options. And then in the end, take their direction. Do they want us to get involved directly, or do they want us to just kind of stand on the sidelines and wait for further instruction? And then the larger part of that is just explaining the spectrum of long-term care and connecting families a lot of times with resources to begin that educational adventure and the journey that is all things long-term care. And then we offer mediation in some circumstances. So for providers, if they're having issues from one resident to another, we can be mediators, and I'm a trained mediator. But it's harder when it's a resident to a facility, because keep in mind, we are advocates for the resident side. So it's a little bit more difficult for us to be neutral in those situations. But if it's resident to resident, or one family member to another family member, which is a common theme as well, we can definitely help out with those situations.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't realize that y'all did that kind of service as well. And I imagine that happens from time to time, especially in nursing homes where people are sharing a room with somebody that they may not have ever known before they moved in there.
Right, and a lot of times they're not aware that they have the right to ask for a room change if it's not working out between them and another person. And truthfully, if you're sharing a room, it's a relationship whether you like it or not. And so it's
That's
better
right.
to have a good one and have a good match. And the
Good.
assist
Well, it sounds like the Ombudsman program really offers a wide array of resources and services. And I'm glad you came on the program today to help educate people about this. I would like to encourage you, if you have any needs at all, or just think you might have a need, give Greg a call, or touch base with your ombudsman program in your area and find somebody to help you and walk you through this. You don't have to do everything alone. That's one of the messages I want to get across to families. So many times we think we have to do all of this alone. You don't. There's people out there like Greg and others that have wonderful resources and lots of knowledge and can be your advocate. So reach out. At the end of this program, I'm going to put up a slide, Greg, and I'll put all of the contact information that you just gave us so that people can get that information. And I'm going to go ahead and close this up today because I know everybody's busy, but do tune back in. We're going to be having Greg on a regular basis to talk about specific issues that can help you. The next one will be called Follow the Money program. That sounds real interesting, Greg, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about that. So for today, thanks for attending. It's Catherine Watson, Conversations with Catherine, and FindHoustonSeniorCare.com.
Thanks, Catherine.